Happy Monday, good people. Welcome to WWT Live. I am sure you have a wrestling hangover because we had 3 consecutive days in the 6 that was absolutely out of this world. We're getting into all of it next on WWT Live.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go off. This is Shayna, the Queen of Spades, Baszler, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Bring all your friends to the party because it's about to go down. What's going on, good people? Happy Monday. Welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am Gerard Bonner, a.k.a. The Professor, a.k.a. Teflon G, a.k.a. not quite Nostradamus, but I got a really big one right. We'll get into all of that and a lot more. Listen, before I even bring my crew on, I just want to remind you that if you miss any of our live shows, you can always check them out in multiple places. You can check them out on YouTube. You can also check out the audio versions on Spotify or wherever it is you get your podcast. But trust me when I tell you, you need to stay connected to all that we are doing here at WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk. And something tells me that today is going to be another one of those days that you are not going to want to miss. So with that said, let's bring in the crew and get into all things WWT Live. First up, a man who I know has a lot to say. He is indeed an elected official. And, well, I'm just putting my seatbelt on because this is going to be good. The councilman is here, Councilman Farrow.
Can't play it too much. I want to get the monetization off.
Oh,
Buddy. Buddy.
Oh, boy.
Woo! It's been a party. It's been a party this weekend, y'all. Oh, my goodness.
we knew it would be a situation. We knew it would be. We knew it would be. So the councilman is ready. Of course, the councilman is not alone. We know she has a lot to say. And really, she didn't get a break because she did full WWT Live Friday, did the whole Smackdown watch along, and she's here ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling with Honey with some shades on, I see.
As always, the library is going to be open all day today. Okay. I'm tired. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired and I'm not tired. But I can't wait. I just want to get into it. I want to rant about some things. I want to celebrate some things because we got some celebrations going on.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
We got so much celebration.
Oh boy. It's gonna be a good one.
Stratton. This was from Roxanne Perez. Oh my God.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, we're welcoming a brand new face to WWT Live. Came as a result of all things that happened in Toronto or Toronto, depends on who says it. But I'm really excited to welcome to the crew. Mel is here. Mel, how are you?
Yay. Hi, Mel.
Good.
What's
How
up,
are
girl?
you guys? Hi.
Welcome aboard.
So
How
nice to
are
be
you?
here. I am still on that Money in the Bank high. Yeah, I'm feeling great. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Tired.
Awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Indifferent, all the above.
For sure. Well, we are glad to have you on with us. You're going to fit right in. And we've got one more introduction to do. And this is probably why you all tuned in today. So I don't know that I have to say an awful lot. I'll just do this. The mayor is here, Mayor, and you look a little subdued, sir. Mayor, how are you?
Mayor? Do you need a drink?
You smoking that Roxy pack? Is that what you doing? You smoking that Roxy pack?
You got a stomach ache for all them pop rocks, man?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I don't want to belabor this. Let's just get on with the program.
Well, we will get on with the program, but before we get into Heatwave, as you know we will, and before we get into Money in the Bank, we have to get in. Well, before I even do that, I got to shout out. I mean, the people are already going crazy in the chat, as we knew they would. Boza is here. Jeffrey is here. Dylan is here. Of course, Matt is here. Cousin Ron is here. Dylan says it's a day of mourning in Vice City. We'll get to that. And by the way, kudos to you, honey, on your great Tiffy interview, which came out just in time. Yes. And Tyler is here as well. TMC, Mayor, TMC. So before we get into all of this, one of the biggest pieces of news coming from the weekend shocked us all as John Cena showed up to Toronto. We thought he was, kind of announcing the summer of Cena, perhaps. Instead, he announced his retirement. John Cena is planning to retire from in-ring action in 2025. He went on and told us in the post-show at the press conference that what he will be doing, the plan right now is to have him go throughout the entire year of 2025, ending his in-ring career somewhere around December of 2025. So before we get into all of the other happenings from the weekend, I wanted to do this on the front end because something tells me we might not get to it on the back end. So let's have a conversation about John Cena and his retirement announcement. What did you guys make of this? And Councilman, we'll start with you.
I think it was great. If you watch the press show after Money in the Bank, I think Triple H said it best, man. This guy has put in more than 20 years. This guy was there when we were up, walked it, held it when we were low. Like, whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether you had whatever you have, again, whatever kind of emotion you have, you can't tell me this isn't the greatest of all time. And for him to be able to go out on his terms, not to be like forced to do it, even him saying like, hey, I'm not coming back once it's done. I will not be in the ring once it's done. I think it was just a great setup. And it just makes all of us, if you're a wrestling fan, you're like, I have to attend one of these PLEs next year so I can say goodbye to John Cena. Me, preferably WrestleMania in Vegas, because it's just 4 hours away. But that's what I got from it, and I just think it's going to be great next year. And more power to him.
Yeah, honey, what did you think about this announcement from John Cena?
Well, like a lot of the moments that happened over the weekend, I sat up, like my ears perked up. I sat up and I gasped, like literally gasped. I was like, oh. Like, that wasn't what I was expecting to hear. I was definitely expecting another Summer of Cena tour or some kind of thing going on, but I wasn't expecting that. And I was wondering, it was kind of like it was like a little shock for me, because I feel like he, has a lot more in the tank, it's being in such great shape that he's in, and considering that he's just a machine at this point. But Father Time catches us all, as Big E said on the post show. Father Time always catches up to you, and I think Cena is content with the career that he's left behind, and with also the things that he's planning to do in the next year. I feel like he's got a lot of big things planned. My curiosity instantly kicked in, because I'm like, okay, who's going to be the grand finale for Cena? Because it's got to be good. It's got to be good. It's got to be something with history, some richness to it. And, eventually that's definitely, we all know that this guy is bound to be in the Hall of Fame regardless. I was always the indifferent one on Cena. I would be, I'm kind of like a heel when it comes to Cena, because I would be at live events when Cena would come out. and I would be chanting that Cena sucks while there's kids near me screaming for Cena dressed up just like him and everything like that. So, I always had my fun with Cena, but I have always respected the man and everything that he's done. Everything he has done turned to gold. And I definitely believe that he's leaving the WWE a lot better than he found it.
Mel, let me ask you this question. Actually, two-part question. One, your favorite John Cena moment, and two, do you think that in this? Well, here's the question. Number two is, what are the moments you think we're going to see in this farewell tour of John Cena?
So, to answer the second question first, what I would personally hope to see in this farewell tour is for another title belt. I think that he's definitely well deserving of having like the most reigns, like to get to that 17. Honestly, like in the way that I would want to see it, his last match, he would win it. And then like basically he would retire as the champion and he wouldn't like have to. That's just my dream. I don't know. People might disagree with me and that's okay. But my favorite John Cena moment, my God. It's so hard to just pick one. There's like, I think it's any time that he maybe comes up unexpectedly at a WrestleMania. Like this year, I even remember WrestleMania 32 Dallas. He was not expected. Personally, that was my first WrestleMania, and coincidentally, he was away for so long. And it's funny enough that you say that, honey, that you were the one cheering for him. My dad wore a John Cena t-shirt to that WrestleMania. So it's like he predicted it. So
yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. Said, let me ask you the same question. Favorite John Cena moment, and what do you expect to see in this farewell tour?
I expect him to get the full Kobe Bryant treatment. Every arena, standing ovations every single time. Even maybe throw a little bit of a D Wade influence in there too with like the final tour type of t-shirt. I expect him to put on matches that we've never seen, throwbacks, callbacks, all the likes, and every arena, every date that he does. I do hope that he would have kind of a closing match, kind of the same way Sting did, where he would go out a champion for over somebody who maybe can still say face, and then that title would be held for a tournament the following week or whatnot. Favorite John Cena. I'm a big fan of John Cena's WrestleMania entrances. So my favorite one is actually the choir entrance. I think that was the one versus Miz.
Yeah.
So. That would be my favorite entrance of his. That was dope. But like he used to always have these very big entrances at Mania that I'm very fond of a lot of them. But that would be my number one entrance.
Absolutely. So this ought to be quite the ride for John Cena. Again, what this ultimately gives us, since we're in July, we kind of get another year and a half of John Cena, depending upon what he chooses to do between now and the top of the year. So we know for fact, again, he's ending December of next year, which means pretty much every PLE he does next year is the last time he'll do that particular PLE as an in-ring competitor. So it basically says WWE's coming to your city. You might want to get tickets because, if Cena's on there, could be the final time. So with that said, let's dig into this weekend. Before we get into the PLE, a big thing happened at the end of Smackdown. We crowned new tag team champions as DIY finally got the championships as they defeated A-Town Down Under in what I thought was a scintillating tag team match on an episode of Smackdown that was filled with tag team action. Mel, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on DIY becoming the new tag team champions?
It's honestly so good to see these guys get a push. So I'm from Toronto. It was a few years ago when they came to Raw. Johnny Gargano came back. I think it was from his injury, and he said that Toronto has a special place in his heart. And the fact that he did win it here, I think it's like also a little bit of a sentimental emotion on his part, but I think that these guys are definitely deserving of a push.
Absolutely. Honey, your thoughts on the new tag team champions?
I was super hyped for this. I was super hyped. I kind of wasn't expecting it. I wasn't sure because sometimes they like to pull the plug and give us a little swerve. But I'm very happy that they pulled the plug on DIY getting the titles. Toronto has been a very, very meaningful place, as Mel said, to them in their history. I think that is a great way to crown them as well, especially being that A-Town Down Under's run was kind of like mid. I'm not even gonna lie. I was kind of expecting it to get better as it went on, but it's just seemed like maybe A-Town Down Under got lost in the wind, where DIY had basically refound their footing again, and it just felt like the good old black and gold NXT days when DIY was, on and popping and they were the hot thing. So I'm really happy for these guys. Ciampa finally, Johnny finally, Johnny Wrestling, I'm just ecstatic for them, and I love to watch them. So, and I hope that they are defending champs.
So I've got a bit of breaking news. We're going to come back to this in a second. Ooh. But a bit of breaking news. And this breaking news comes from Damon Kemp of NXT, who says on X, and I quote, "As of today, I am no longer under contract with WWE. Forever grateful for the people I met and the experiences I've had." Damon Kemp, no longer in NXT. Obviously, he is the brother of Gable Steveson. I thought he had been doing a fantastic job as part of the No Quarter Catch crew. Mm-hmm. And this is pretty shocking. It seemed like a story was building involving him and Tavion Heights. But so once again, No Quarter Catch crew is down to 3. Maybe they ought to keep it at 3, because every time they get it to 4, somebody ends up leaving one way or the other. So that's pretty shocking news, at least from my end. But Damon Kemp no longer with WWE, and we'll probably dig into that a bit more. Let's get back into this conversation here about DIY. Councilman, what a major moment for DIY in Toronto. I guess the next question is, who do you see as potential opponents for DIY?
Man, I want to see them versus the Street Profits. Like, Honey said best. Like, that match Friday gave you the black and gold brand feels from both sides, both tag teams.
Yes.
So I want to see them versus the Street Profits. Keep that momentum just like that for the tag team division. Build this tag team in Smackdown and let them have matches like that. The roller coaster ride that they gave us with Austin and with Grayson, I just know the magic that the Street Profits and DIY will put on. And this match should have been at Money in the Bank. I'm glad for it to be on SmackDown, but this was a Money in the Bank deserving match. And it should have been.
Absolutely. With a stipulation or something to make it spicy.
Yeah. Especially since they were in Toronto. Said, let me ask you the question. Who would you like to see as future opponents for DIY?
The easiest answer for me is Pretty Deadly. We got to start elevating the tag team division with superstars that, like DIY, haven't really had their just due on the main roster as of yet. Pretty Deadly fits the bill for that. You need a good antithesis to the baby faces here, because eventually, of course, A-Town Down Under, Awesome Truth, those were great WrestleMania moments, but they were always placeholder champions for the division, which why the division has been stagnant. We got to start eating up a lot of these other tag teams. So I would have Pretty Deadly get the first shot whenever they do the number one contendership. And I think they would give you the exact type of moments that you want from these guys, because the eventual play here is splitting these two. If you're not a fan of NXT Black and Gold, Ciampa Gargano is better than Miz and Daniel Bryan. And whenever they can kind of put that and encapsulate that on the main roster, it's going to be perfect.
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, because Miz and Daniel Bryan was a moment when it happened, But when DIY came and Ciampa made the switch, oh my God, I'll never forget that. I'll never.
Yeah, it was
forget
like it was more like for me like KO versus Sammy type.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what they did.
yeah.
Just went even further.
Hashtag fight forever.
Like that.
That's for sure.
Literally.
All right. So now let's not keep you all waiting. It's time to get into Money in the Bank, which of course took place this past Saturday, hosted by Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. And it kicked off with this men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, I guess I will start. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off here with this one. For those who do not know, I mean, the match was crazy. It ended with Drew McIntyre winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. And so I'm going to ask the question that the socials have been asking. Was Drew McIntyre winning Money in the Bank a waste of the briefcase? Mel, let's start with you.
You know, I was actually discussing this with TK beside me at the show, how it would be funny for Drew McIntyre to cash in against Damian Priest, doing this. So I saw on Twitter that like both sides, like, yes, it is a waste because then you have to wait a whole other year, and then for the next Money in the Bank match, and then it also makes Tiffany Stratton's like reign with the briefcase, like, oh, that one has to be so good that like it can like balance out the badness of this, I guess. It was funny in the moment, but long term, yes, it's kind of a waste, but I can see why they did that. I don't see Cody Rhodes getting rid of the belt anytime soon. Damian Priest, if they played it out in the future, maybe. I just also depends how the Seth and CM Punk storyline goes about.
Okay. Said, yeah, let's go to you. Was this a waste for Drew McIntyre to win Money in the Bank?
Not a waste at all. And I think a lot of people built up expectations, and then their expectations just weren't met. We all knew that this was going to happen as soon as Drew was the final entry into the Money in the Bank. The reason why it's not a waste is because we already had Damian Priest take a calendar year to cash in which WrestleMania was just a couple months ago. So the Money in the Bank briefcase has already been a major storyline for the past year already. It's not worth it to do it again. And also there's been talks already of discontinuing this event and just holding the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. So I think that all plays a factor in how we move forward with the briefcases. So I think we all knew that Drew would try to cash in same day, same cash in. How they got there is, I think, why people are a little upset. Could CM Punk have thwarted him getting the briefcase? Sure. Should he have cashed in and then made it a triple threat, or should have somebody actually won clean? I think that's where the murkiness comes from. Maybe Damian should have already won clean over Seth to make it mean more. Then you have the thwarted cash in by CM Punk. But the cool thing is you accomplished two things. Two storylines came out of that. Mm-hmm. The fact that you further Punk and McIntyre, and whatever's going to happen in the future with Punk and Seth. And I'm glad Seth gave us that moment after the match, because that's going to be an even bigger rivalry if you date back to War Games and what all that looked like with Seth being the only one trying to get at Punk when he returned. So I think it accomplished a lot. So I wouldn't call it a failure.
Councilman, what do you say? Because we're going to get to some of these comments in a little bit, but what do you say?
I don't think it's a waste. I think the execution was ass. That's what I think. Like, I don't mind that Drew won Money in the Bank. Everything else, though, made everyone look bad. I'm sorry. Like, one, Punk did not need to screw him over. We're already hyped for Drew and CM Punk. You did not need to fuel it anymore. We're already hyped about Seth and CM Punk. We did not have to see that. And if anything else, you made your world heavyweight champion look bad, because now we still not seeing him get a clean win over anybody. And we don't, and it's still just keeping kind of Damian Priest as a filler. So I don't think it was a waste, but I just think the execution of it to make everything about CM Punk ass just made a lot of this look bad. And it made all of that part of just like, yo, because now too, when you think about it, everybody else that was in that match, what I would say, probably the exception of LA Knight, Everyone else could have held on to that Money in the Bank and built it up. Jay could have built it up. Melo could have built it up. Even
Andrade.
if Andrade, they could have built it up to hold it. This could have been the first time we even have a man hold it longer than Carmella past like what I think 480 something days. We could have seen something like that.
She was more like 280 or something.
280.
It's
Okay.
only
280.
365 max.
My bad. I mean, I know it was
Yeah.
like a or something.
Yeah.
But it's like you could have got down to that to where this could have been that. It could have been more potential for someone to rise in Money in the Bank. So I don't think it was a waste. I just think the execution of the cash in did not have to happen that way. CM Punk could have screwed him at the ladder match, and we still would have got that. But that's just my opinion.
All right, honey, I'll let you wax poetic on this one.
My initial reactionary thought, the first instance when Drew grabbed this briefcase, I was upset. I was pissed. I was like, this, no. But at first I was just a little bit reactionary. Then after a while I got to thinking about it. I'm like, okay, none of this is even about Drew. Drew is being the catalyst for stories that are within stories. Okay, because we did have a little inkling of Yeet versus Yeah in the match, as Seth had predicted, that would have happened for King of the Ring tournament, but we got it. We got it at the ladder match. Andrade could have like Will just said, everybody in that match could have easily held it. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a waste, but I understand why it happened. At first, initially, that's what my thought was. I was like, well, that was stupid. But seeing everything unfold afterwards, and then later on into the night, and then also with the announcement of Bad Blood returning, I understand where this is going and what it's going to lead to. So it's just more so of Drew, once again, being one of the greatest heels this year that he has been. And he's carrying, he's pretty much carrying everybody in the realm of the division as far as being in the main card picture. And you got Drew versus Seth, Seth versus Punk. You got Drew versus Punk. You have Priest can screw Drew in some other way for interrupting his match with one-on-one with Seth. There's a lot of other layers that you could peel out here, especially even with the other contenders in the match. They could possibly give Drew a bunch of crap for utilizing this opportunity just to cash it in instantly and then not do anything with it. Jay Uso could have a chip on his shoulder about it. LA Knight could have, what I'm saying? There's just other stories being built here, and I understand why. But I wouldn't have booked it this way. I would have thought that CM Punk would have interrupted, kind of like Bray Wyatt style, when Roman was climbing the ladder and all of a sudden Bray was at the bottom of the ladder and he stopped him from getting the briefcase or something like. I think that's who it was, or was it Seth? I'm not sure, but yeah, I kind of would have done it a little differently, but I understand because it made sense towards the end. It was just opening other doors for the other rivalries that are going to be coming soon.
I will say there's one more that we saw get thrown out there that I think we also don't talk about, but I will talk about it here. Shout out to Wade Barrett. His foreshadowing at the end and the fact that they said he's been cleared to wrestle again. I was like, great job. I was like, I don't know if a lot of people caught that, but I was like, this is a good work from Wade right here. The way he was talking about, not going to talk about him. I was like, I see what you're doing, Wade. I see what you're doing. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So let's get to some of these comments because there are a lot of them. Dylan says, I'm on the fence to say if it's a waste. Boza says it was a waste. You basically use the briefcase to extend a story. You don't know if it's a lock for SummerSlam. Jeffrey says, I thought it was a waste, but I understand the story here between Punk and now Seth and Punk. You have two stories there still cooking and reopening. Cousin says, listen, we had the briefcase in our face all year. I'm fine with it going away until next year. Special Nobody says, I don't think it's a waste. They may have solid stories locked for the two world titles and no room for a Money in the Bank challenger this year. Eric says, I can see Drew versus Punk versus Seth in the near future. Dylan says, Punk just got a new enemy. Jeffrey said, Punk needed to get his lick back, and I fully understand that. There's a reason why Bad Blood is being booked again. Let's see. Punk screwing him out of the title meant more than just screwing Drew out of the briefcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with that. Punk said as long as him and Drew are in the same company, Drew will never get the championship. Jeffrey says Finn can screw Damian.
Which we thought would be something during this match, the way they had him look. I was like, I thought that was going to happen, or something to where it kind of have him come out and he don't listen. And it's like, really, Punk?
With all of this happening, I also meant to say before, a lot of this is more so not even about, like I said, it's not about Drew. It's more so about the run of Damian Priest. That's what Money in the Bank said a lot more about Damian Priest's run than anything else, because this would be how many times that he's gotten help and assistance to get this title.
Every PLE.
A lot of other superstars can question him as a champion, and I'm not going to sit here and question my people's Puerto Rico all day, but I'm just saying it gives cause for concern for a lot of people to say, are you really that guy? Are you really a valid champion, being that you've had help every single defense? And even when you were gunning for the championship and you were trying to cash in your Money in the Bank all year, you even had help from the Judgment Day, and even still that didn't work. So it's like, should Damian's championship run come into question as far as him being a validated champion?
Very interesting. Well, we've got I tell you what, it's packed around here. I like it. I like it that way. This is the second show in 7 days. I'm impressed. Jacob DeLawrence is here. Welcome back, sir.
I'm sorry I'm late. Not much. I'm sorry I'm late. I was getting things moving for the upper room, and I had to clean up a grave site after this weekend. So my bad. I'm sorry. But I'm here now.
You are still in time. You are still in time for sure. Did you have any thoughts on Drew winning Money in the Bank?
So I almost got into it with a couple of people on Twitter about this. My only knock is I wish Drew didn't win. But the flip side is there's no way you get to Punk screwing Drew without Drew having the briefcase. I just rather the briefcase not be a vehicle for something else and actually use it for what it's intended for. You could have easily let Melo hold that for 6 months. You could have gave that to Gable, all these other options. But overall, I don't hate it, because at some point we're going to get a payoff for this, but use these things for what they're intended for. It's like when you put the tag belts on solo stars to further a feud. Just use them what they're intended for.
So a couple of very interesting comments. I think that's the boss lady floating around who is pretty excited to see you, or is feeling like Stone Cold Steve Austin. One of the two. I'm not sure. Dylan says Jacob DeLawrence would say Will Ospreay should have won Money in the Bank. That is hilarious.
What?
Everywhere you look, it's Full House. I love it, Jeffrey. That is a fantastic reference. So I have to shout out my friend Meredith Bell, who said this in her stories, and when she said it, it all clicked. So before I tell you what she said, I will say that we have to remember that Money in the Bank is all about a story. It's a story for somebody. The question is, which story is the story you want to tell? So for the last, 9 months or so, the story was the building of Damian Priest and us being able to finally see him as a championship contender. So there was that. And there have been previous stories when it's come to Money in the Bank. This Drew McIntyre story makes a lot of sense. And I got to shout out again Meredith Bell, because she said this in her stories, and I have to give her credit. She said CM Punk is the Kendrick Lamar of WWE. And when she said that, all of this made sense, because he won't take his foot off of the neck of Drew McIntyre. And, Drew got a little bit of lick back in Chicago, and CM Punk said, I got you, and I'm going to get it where it counts. And he does so. And to me, this is absolutely Kendrick versus Drake, and it happened in Toronto. I mean, come on.
But if you think about it, when he beat up CM Punk in Chicago, that's Family Matters.
It is.
When he got screwed at Clash of the Castle, that's Not Like Us. And
Right.
with his Meet the Ground.
I can't wait.
I can't unsee this now.
Yeah, I can't unsee this. While we're here, let me ask this other question very, very quickly before we move on, because we got a lot of ground to cover and a little bit of time to do it. Do you think Money in the Bank had the right main event? And if you don't, what should have been the main event? Mel, let's start with you.
You know what? I don't think it was the right main event.
Okay.
And what should have been, I think, considering where they went with the men's like Money in the Bank, I think it should have finished off maybe with the women's Money in the Bank match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, did they get the main event right? And if not, what should have main evented this pay-per-view or this PLE?
Doing a little Monday morning quarterbacking, I feel like you got it right, just given how the men's world heavyweight title match ended and how that botch misspot that. And then you look at the women's match, I was a little shaky. You got it right in hindsight, but I probably would have closed with Punk screwing Drew over and that just setting everything up for Raw because Damian was mad and he was like, dog, again? Like, again, somebody had to help me? And then you caught Seth being like, yo, why are you here? Go away. Like, you're ruining my moment now again. So that's how I would have ended it. But you only remember the start and the close, so I don't think they really wanted that botch to, like, really, really be the last thing that you remember. So I'll say they got it right in hindsight.
Said, what do you think? Did they get the main event right? And if not, what should have main evented?
I'm gonna try to not go with revisionist history and then say that it's fine. I mean, I can see the whole CM Punk stuff closing the show, but the main event wasn't really about the 6-man tag. It was about unleashing Jacob Fatu, and they accomplished that. Everything they did with the Ulafala and Solo saying he's a tribal chief, invoking Roman Reigns' name. Now we have proof of where we're going with Bad Blood, and I don't expect Roman to show back up until Bad Blood. So I think they accomplished what they're trying to do with those storylines. I have no problem with the 6-man tag closing.
Councilman, same question.
It should have opened the show. What should have opened the show? The Bloodline versus Cody and friends. Okay. And Dylan Matthews said it best. This is a Money in the Bank PLE. You would finish off with a Money in the Bank match. And it should have been the women that closed it out because that was the best match out the entire night. This whole weekend, like we said, the women put it on their backs and said, we got it this weekend. We're going to carry both PLEs this weekend in Toronto.
Honey, your thoughts?
It's no shade. I am in agreement. The women were the match of the night. The women killed it, ate, and left no damn crumbs. Even with the botches and everything, there were some spots in there that were just completely unbelievable. Chelsea's spot. Zoe Stark was a highlight reel throughout that match. She was carrying it. Tiffy time, the swanton off the top rope, but it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I would have totally ended it with the women. I probably would have started it with the Bloodline match, the ending of the Bloodline, and we're going to get into it later, but the ending of that match was so underwhelming for me. So underwhelming.
All right, well, let's speed through some of this because we still have a little bit more to get to. The Intercontinental Championship match, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Ultimately, Sami retains. I see half of the panel turning their back, which I think is hilarious. Mel, let me get your thoughts. What do you think of Sami defeating Braun Breaker?
I like seeing a Canadian win any title belt, but right now they've been building Braun to be this massive force on the roster, and I think even though he's like just come onto the main roster, I think if they were going to keep with that idea going on, he should have won the belt.
Okay. Said.
You know what? I can admit where I was wrong. I thought Sami was going to the upper room, but I know why he's still winning. So I mean, the Uftu, underdog from underground. He's the guy that beat Gunther. And you can keep falling back on the fact that he beat Gunther, who held the title for 666 days. So it's going to take a lot more than a 4.240 and some speed to take the belt off him. So it's just building a greater storyline to make it mean more whenever Sammy does lose. And you know what? I'm not hating on it because Sammy actually does deserve this.
Councilman?
I'm feeling like Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it.
Oh my Lord.
Oh my gosh, man.
We should have known better that Sammy wasn't losing at the crib, though.
We knew he wasn't.
Known better.
Because he lost that elimination chamber. He had to get a win in his hometown. It was rookie versus vet. Sammy showed the veteran side of it. It was all in all a decent match. You know, I'm not a fan of Sammy, particularly as far as the persona goes, but all in all, it was a decent match. It did make Braun Breaker look good. I just do wish he'd have destroyed him afterwards. Like, I really wish he would have speared him or threw him around.
Full heel mode.
Full heel mode. And I was kind of mad that we were deprived of that and that it was a clean win. It was just like kind of like, dang, the haluva kick got like that. Okay, so it took him out. No roll up by him trying to screw him. And then Sammy picks up this. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know how y'all finna make Braun look with that. And then don't let him attack. It's just like, okay, but I get it. Like to Say's point, y'all want to make him strong. He's the person that defeated Gunther. So I don't know when that's going to happen where we start seeing it like that. But I guess this is where it starts.
I was still robbed.
The
robbery.
So we have obviously talked about the world title match, so we will proceed from there, which again was crazy.
It was great to see Seth back in the ring, though.
Yes,
it was so great to see him in the ring. He was moving good.
Yeah, he looked great.
I do just want to address one thing because I know a lot of people have been talking a lot of crap about Damian Priest. And I definitely was not going to be a person that comes and disrespects him about the whole pin thing because I've been in the ring before. It is a lot for you to listen and be able to communicate when things are going on in there. From the sound of the arena, from trying to call your spots, from being able to really try and listen to the ref hitting the mat. So I'm like, yo, a lot of that stuff happens and those type of things do happen to where, you know, like, yo, we know he didn't really kick out. But I'm not going to bash him for that because we know those type of things happen. If you've never been in a ring like that, then you shouldn't really be talking crap about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have an entire show on that alone because it amazes me how people expect perfection from athletes. Like it doesn't happen in any sport. So that's another story for another day. But let's get into this women's. Well, you know what? No. Let's go to this match. Let's talk about. That wasn't the match I meant. I wanted another match. I wanted this match, the Bloodline situation. What were your thoughts on the Bloodline versus Cody and friends and the Bloodline winning? Jacob, let's start with you.
So Seth was like, oh, you know, the main thing is making sure Jacob Fatu looked like a star and a monster and putting him over it. They did everything right, but they didn't stick the landing. I rewatched this match twice and I was like, all right, one, I would have brought Cody and company out first and let's start this off hot. Let's brawl in the aisle. Like, let's actually amp this up, get this going. Let's kind of unleash Jacob Fatu early. Like, let's just go, hey, he's a madman. He ain't wrapped too tight. He's the most dangerous of the bunch. Let's get that out the gate. But I appreciate Michael Cole with that little nod and like a little bit of realism of like, hey, he has a record. So we had to pull some strings to get him in this country. And, you know, we're not sure what might happen, basically. But I think where they messed up was, yes, I get you want to make Solo look like the new tribal chief, make him look big. But Jacob Fatu is the star because he took that DDT from Randy, popped up, and I'm pretty sure he said, do you know who I am? And it was like, oh, we are on. Fatu should have pinned Cody. And it would have been on some, hey, say Solo hit him with the spike. and something happened, and then Fatu came through, laid him out, got on 1, 2, 3, and it's like, I did this for you. Like, I'm here to protect you, my tribal chief. I took him out for you. Go with that angle. Make Fatu go, hey, if he's the enforcer in the wild card, but he just pinned champ, we really need to be weary of what he might be able to do. And then eventually you can work your way to Solo. But that was my only complaint. Just a little nitpick.
Said your thoughts on this match.
This big ass man hit a whisper in the wind, and you said they not sticking the landing. What do we? You saw a 300-pound man hit a whisper in the wind, and we not sticking the landing. What are we doing here, Jacob? What are we doing?
Go all the way with it. Go all the way. You gave him the whisper in the wind. You gave him the DDT spot. Go all the way. Let him get the pin.
That is fickle. That is fickle.
It's like the Pistons. You got the top pick, but you didn't draft the right guy.
We're not talking Pistons. Don't do that to me. No.
We need that drop. We need that fickle drop for the mayor. We need that fickle drop for the mayor.
Oh yeah.
No, like the match was fine. If anything, I don't. If you really want to nitpick, I don't think this is the way to debut Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob Fatu should have debuted in a singles match to really drive the point home. But I know why you do that, because Tongaloa is out here botching low blows, which is getting ran through the internet now. It's amazing. Yeah, so like you can't put him in the ring on the main event is what I'm seeing now. But Jacob Fatu accomplished a lot of things. You got to remember, like he had that big moment in the match against a Hall of Famer, certified Hall of Famer, Randy Orton. That's huge. And the reason why you don't want to heat Jacob up too much, and people are already starting to do this whole thing, like, well, why isn't Jacob Fatu the tribal chief? Why can't he have more push than Solo? Because he's basically entering Solo's role. Solo would do all the heavy lifting, and Roman would get the pin all the time. It's the same thing. We're looking at the same exact formula. And what makes Solo the tribal chief.
We're looking at the same formula, but it ain't the same.
It's going to be the same because he already invoked Roman's name, which is going to set up the whole thing down the road. It's the same formula because you loved it so much when it happened a year ago. So let's just keep redoing it. And it's going to work.
It was Roman.
Interesting. All right, well, we're gonna keep on rolling because we've got to move to this little event called Heatwave. Heatwave,
yes, let's do that.
Was definitely a thing. But before we do that, let's get a word from our sponsor.
Have you heard the news? It's pretty big. I heard from my friend who heard from her friend all the way from the Caribbean. Well, when I heard from my friend, I became super excited. And I think you guys will like it too. WWT now has an official partner, and it's All Caribbean Wrestling, the premier promotion across the Caribbean. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views, or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1. Now, you make sure you go and check them out and tell them WWT sent you. You hear me?
Shout out to our friends at All Caribbean Wrestling who continue to do very, very big things. Be on the lookout for some of the great things that are coming, including Baja Bash from the Bahamas. Just an absolutely amazing moment. All right, time to talk about NXT Heatwave, which took place just yesterday, Sunday night. Again at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. It began with the Countdown show, which had two great Canadians in a fantastic, unlikely tag team match. Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovich taking on Jasmine Nix and JC Jane. Let's quickly get some thoughts on this one. Honey, what were your thoughts on this one?
I was so happy. I was so happy for my girl Ariana Grace. She got to shine in her homeland and, you know, do her thing. They had a really good interaction. Obviously, she kind of took all the credit for it, which I like, though, because that's just what she does. You know, she does everything gracefully, and then she takes the credit for it, even if she didn't do it all. But you know what? She had a great showing. Honestly, all four women did have a great showing. I was really surprised with Jasmine Nix. I felt like the last couple of times that I watched her on NXT, on the weekly shows where there were moments where she looked like she was a little bit, restrictive in her wrestling. Like she wasn't really like letting go in the ring. Last night she was. And she was giving it all she got. And JC Jane is just a great heel. I need more, and I kind of need that mask off soon, but I'll take it. And I was very happy with this result.
Mel, what did you think of this match?
I agree that it was very beyond great, especially when we consider both Ariana and Carmen, they're from Toronto. This meant a little bit more like an emotion to them, as well as it made that helped make their performance better, which made the match even more enjoyable to watch. And it just the win for them, especially again, from Toronto, seeing that, it was just they won. Obviously I'm not in the match, but I won too, and that kind of stuff is great to see.
Yeah, we definitely like to see it. And it felt like Ariana Grace kind of kicked it up a notch in terms of in-ring last night. It was just like, wow, I saw some things from her that I had not seen before. So let's get into the main show, which kicked off with the Men's North American Championship. Obafemi and Wes Lee. Mayor, what did you think of this match?
My God, I don't know who you get to beat Obafemi. I like the legend is growing with every show. Great showing by Wesley, but now he'll never challenge for the title, which we're doing a favor for him with that, because now he can actually be in the main event picture where he's long belonged since challenging Mello last, I think. But with Obafemi, it's like, my God, I don't know. He just turns up a notch every time. And I know he's called Moose. He's had some dream matches. I think he announced with Gunther as well as Ilya. So I just hope they keep him in NXT for a long time so he doesn't get lost on main. But there's no denying his gravity right now.
Yeah, speaking of gravity, as you can see there, gravity caught Wes at some point. Councilman, man, what did you think of this match with Obafemi and Wes Lee?
Man, I always love a good David and Goliath type match, and then seeing the Goliath reign supreme. Just to Cedric's point, man, I keep working him here, build him into this dominant force so he doesn't get lost in there. And rarely you see it when someone gets beat up into a new ranking. Like this man, just alone, I didn't threw you into a new division. Don't come back to mine. Go over there. You don't belong here no more. But no, fantastic showing between both of these men, and I just look forward to seeing Oba keep doing this thing, and then Wesley finally getting that NXT championship like he deserves, a crowd favorite, and I think it's just going to be a great pop when he does get it.
Jacob, who do you think should be next to attempt to challenge Obafemi?
You might have to sacrifice somebody from TNA at this point, because
oh yes,
you see that he threw the man like he was a ball of pizza dough. Ain't nobody in that NXT locker room. What you gonna do? Send Gallus? You gonna send Coffee Brothers? I mean, there's really not that many. Yeah, so it's like, who you gonna send? There's really not nobody that you want to put in there, because
there's only one.
Like he said, send me your best, but just don't send anybody that you want back.
Hard line too to use.
Yeah,
that's so hard.
Very hard line, honey.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy for the big man. I was happy that he retained, but as far as I said it last week, and I'm gonna say it again, and I'm sticking to it. I want to see Moose coming out on Tuesday. I want to see Moose come through those doors on Tuesday and pull a Jordan Grace, and I want to see these two big men in a sickening little face off, and just save it for when SummerSlam weekend comes. Don't touch each other until that weekend. Just give me some good build up to it. It's good. That's what I want. I just think that Oba is doing so well, so great of a job ever since the breakout tournament. He was the one I always had my eye on. I was like, this guy's going places. And obviously we know, unfortunately, Wesley cannot challenge for this title, but that doesn't mean that, in the future, when Wesley's challenging for the main roster card, I think Obafemi might be doing the same. So we're definitely going to see these two go at it again. But as far as who I want Oba to face next, it's got to be Moose. It's got to be the big man in TNA. Bring him over.
It's going to be interesting, and I think there could be a weird conflict though with Moose still being the world champion. The world champion over there can't possibly lose to the mid card champion in NXT,
right?
Could he? Like that.
Actually, I know who they could send.
They're gonna have to send somebody else, but
I don't think they finish. Wait, TNA Kurt Angle,
Canadian Kurt Angle, Josh Alexander.
Josh Alexander, yeah.
That would be a crazy match. This photo goes hard. It's just it's incredible.
He's such a beast.
Yeah,
he is an absolute beast. So we went from the men's North American Championship match to the women's North American Championship match. Kaylani Jordan and Sol Ruka. Mel, what on earth did you think of this one?
Holy cow. I mean, honestly, just throughout the match, like, I could watch that chemistry with no ending and I would still be okay with it. Just like seeing these two like go at each other, it was incredible to watch. I mean, good for Kalani for like successfully defending the championship for the first time. It was just incredible to say the least, honestly.
Let's see. Councilman, what were your thoughts on this one?
This was a phenomenal match. Like she and her, Kaylani and Sol Ruka delivered like no notes. And I would even say she probably, as of right now, I might be throwing it up there a little bit too high, but you know how I do. I'm just gonna throw it out there. She has probably had one of the best matches as one of the new title holders within the Paula Beck era to Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. Both of those matches are now sitting right here as far as matches that have happened since WrestleMania and her being able to claim the new title. This was a 4. I don't know if you do 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. For me, 5 out of 5 match. And it was dope to see it with two faces. And I know a lot of people keep saying, let Kaylani turn heel. No, this shows you as a face, let her cook. Mm-hmm. Let her show you what she can do. So that way we can save when the heel turn happens. It's even better when it comes.
Yeah. Honey, let me ask you this. I know when I was watching this match, and Special Little Nobody somewhat alluded to this, Ricochet and Ospreay, and I definitely felt like this was the female version of Ricochet and Ospreay from New Japan, only then to see a side-by-side where they literally replicated an entire sequence from Ricochet and Ospreay. Do you think that we have the next Ricochet Ospreay rivalry in Sol Ruka and Kaylani Jordan?
Oh, hands down. Absolutely hands down. Between the soul snatching and you know, the gymnastics background of both of these women, the athletic background they have, absolutely. It definitely gave, like, I felt like I was watching a women's version of Ricochet. I'm like, didn't Ricochet leave WWE? We don't have him no more. Like, what's happening? You know, and I really would have loved. I want to, like, this match is one of those matches where it's like, damn, you have a food so good and you tore it up too fast and you're like, yeah, I can go for another one, but you know what, not yet. It's one of those, and it was a damn good match. Both ladies showed up and showed out and cooked. Like we said, the women were cooking this whole weekend, and this match especially. And if what's funny is that it didn't occur to me at first that they were both faces, but I was like, either way, you know, whether people say you can have two faces face each other, this is a prime example of that. You know what I mean? Like, you can actually do that. And it wouldn't matter because the athleticism and the storytelling and the sequences that they both had were absolutely amazing. These women threw everything they got into that ring, and they had an answer for each other at every turn. The the catching of like with the Soul Snatcher, and even the little tribute to the X Factor going on there. I was like, you know what? I hadn't seen that move in quite a while. It brought me back to like Attitude Era days, and they were both very, very good. And of course, they showed the great sportsmanship towards the end. Shout outs to both these ladies. They turned it out.
Jacob, your thoughts on this match?
I saw somebody tweet that if you think the PC doesn't work, then you clearly are not watching, because this is proof that the PC and what Sean and Matt Bloom and them are down there teaching these women and men works. Which brings me to the point of if you can't make it work after spending months in the PC, I think this just might not be the thing for you, because these are two that had never stepped in a ring until they signed with WWE, and they put on a spectacle. Like, even if you're not a fan of high-flying, flippy-dippy matches, you couldn't help but enjoy this.
Yeah.
It was just a fun match to watch.
Said, I've got two questions for you. One, what does this match say about the future of women's wrestling? And two, what does this match say about the NIL program?
Oh, wow. Yeah. NIL program was a good move. When they finally determined, like, hey, we're not going to scour the indie scene and we're going to go to a formula that we feel that can work, it's showcasing exactly that. They're saying that, hey, I can't teach you how to be an athlete, but if you have that already, I can teach you how to wrestle. And this is showing that time and time again. And this match also showcased why they had so much faith in making Kalani the inaugural North American Women's Champion. A lot of people criticized the end of that match and her being the first title holder, but this showcases that she was ready for the moment. So women's wrestling is in good hands, because when all these people who are very young, early 20s, think about them 26, 28, 29, 30, and their time on the main roster, we have years ahead of us with this class and the classes that are still to come in NXT. So women's wrestling is in strong hands, I think, for the next decade plus.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because I feel like we saw something last night in this match that we don't generally see in women's wrestling. In fact, all weekend, we saw things in these women's matches that we don't normally get to see. Wait a minute. We didn't talk about the women's.
I thought you were saving it to the end.
Match.
I thought you were saving it to the end.
That's why I meant to save it for the end of the Money in the Bank conversation. But since we're right here, this is a good place to talk about that women's Money in the Bank ladder match, because I do feel like it also showed us some things that we don't normally see in women's wrestling. So let's get into this. What did you guys think of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match? Mel, let's start with you.
All right. Honestly, any of these women, I think, were definitely deserved to win. In my heart, I did want to see Naomi walk out, just because she came back after almost 2 years, and it would have been nice to see that push. But I'm not surprised that Tiffany won. Chelsea performed comically and athletically as well. Even just like everyone else, they just all worked together. Any move that they did off the ladder too, it was just like, wow, holy cow, that was like incredible. I'm curious to see how they take the storyline go with Tiffany being the briefcase holder and how she's gonna cash it in, but yeah.
Okay. Honey, what did you think of this ladder match?
This is one of those matches that I watch and I can't help but smile because it makes me so happy. Like I love to watch women throw down just as well as the dudes, and they were giving it. As we said, this should have been the main event. Lyra Valkyria, but excluding the favorites to win, which was Chelsea, Naomi, and Tiffy, Lyra and Zoe were on another level this night, as you guys can see from this picture. In Io Sky, this final spot was crazy, and then Chelsea's spot at the very end, just to cap it off. Her she's continuously being the gift that keeps on giving with the women's division. She knows her role in this division, and she plays it so well. Even the way from how she came out, wearing the Canada flag colors, and the crowd was very, very behind her. But I always knew, and I always had a feeling that it was Tiffy time. That clock was ticking, and my girl answered the call, and we are going to see a nice little makeover on that beautiful briefcase. Going to be pink and bedazzled, and I'm so excited for her. I'm really interested, as Mel said, to see how she cashes in, considering that Bayley's the champion, but also you got Queen Nia, who she's in cahoots with, who has a King of the Ring guaranteed spot, Queen of the Ring guaranteed spot to face Bayley. Now, what does that mean for their relationship going forward? I'm not sure, but it does raise some questions. But shout outs to Tiffy. Shout outs to all these women in here. Shout outs to Io Sky for also being her and Naomi were the legends in this match, because this was Naomi's 4th Money in the Bank. And this was Io Sky. If she would have won 2 years in a row, that would have been something. But either way, all of these women showed out and they did a phenomenal job. Like I said, this match made me smile.
Said your thoughts on this match.
I feel like everybody showed out. I feel like the ending was kind of predictable. I thought the way they did it was interesting with how they threw Chelsea. Chelsea's a hooper, man. The fact that she took that spot, amazing. I can make the argument that this is like Io's specialty match. And I can also probably make a claim that she's likely the best high flyer in the company right now. Some of the stuff they did in this match was amazing, but now going forward, I think this is a perfect outcome when you think about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as an entity, giving Tiffany her moment because they had to cool her off for a minute, but they knew they wanted to crown her because she's such a dominant figure in the ring. There's so many storylines to tell. Even that moment she had backstage with Trish, you might be able to key that up. But I thought the match of itself was likely the match of the weekend.
Oh,
wow.
I said match of the night, but I'll take that too.
Okay. Now, you sure that was match of the weekend, sir?
I don't know if that was the match of the weekend. I know another match that cooked just as good, and it didn't even involve ladders, or it just involved 2 ladies. It was pretty good to me.
Jacob, did you have any final thoughts on this women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
Please stop putting Io Sky in matches where she can climb off of something and attack you from that high point, where there's war games, cage matches. Just stop doing it. She's going to kill somebody. Like I saw that Michinoku Driver, I think is what it was an attempt of. It kind of looked like a tombstone, but I was like, yo, she is done. Like Zoe, you a trooper for taking that spot, dog. And Io just don't care because she ate that too. But I think this match showed a lot of people that aren't familiar with Chelsea Green that outside of great character work, she can go in the ring and she could take these bumps and spots. Because if you go back and I think it may be season 2 of Lucha Underground, she had a bloody scrap of a match in Lucha Underground. So she felt right at home. And that camera shot of her falling, and she's just like, damn. I was right there. It was perfect. I loved it. So we'll give it to Tiffy. Good job, Tiff.
Yeah. Poor Io was broken in half after this moment.
Yeah, she was. She absolutely was. So needless to say, a pretty amazing match that took place.
Word, Professor? You're not gonna let me talk about my client?
I'm so sorry. I am Listen, we got a lot of people here. Forgive me. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, let me just say, it was a successful weekend, man. This was from Tiffy. Tiffy sent me this after hours of consulting with her about how to bounce back from backlashes, and to where we were going to make sure that, hey, this is Tiffy time. I called it Friday. I said it was happening. Would have loved to see Chelsea win it. I think it just made Chelsea stronger. Don't agree with the delusions of D'Lo over there with Io. That's like telling Gunther to not use chops. Stop using chops. Like what? Like I don't understand that. Like you don't want to see her flip off something. That don't make no sense.
I'm saying for everybody else's safety. Everybody else's safety.
They all right. Ain't nobody hurt. Ain't nobody get hurt. They all right. I did, and I think her winning sets it up for Naomi as well, because we've seen the back and forth with Naomi. I can see Tiffany betraying Nia, cashing in, getting the belt, and then potentially having to take an off of her from Naomi, maybe somewhere within like Vegas WrestleMania or something, depending on how long they want to stretch this out. But it was just so good to see one of my clients in Strattonville just sitting at the tippy top as Miss Tiffy in the bank. And I'm going to take a shot of some of this illustrious gold bar liquor that she sent me in celebration. And you know what?
I'm surprised she didn't turn it pink when she said it to you.
For some reason, Canada don't have pink bottles. I asked her that. She was like, they couldn't make her nothing pink for some reason. Don't know why. Mel, you might even talk to your people in Toronto. Wait, how you say it? How are we supposed to say it?
Toronto. Technically, neither of the T's are supposed to be pronounced, but
neither of the T's are supposed to be pronounced.
Toronto. It's like, yeah.
Oh, learn something new every day, man.
Well, that's just the slang here. That's
Okay.
it.
I love it.
I don't have the Toronto accent, but
I'm here for the slang. All we do is speak in slang.
I will take that. But cheers to Miss Tiffy in the bank, and I can't wait to see that WWE Women's Championship around her waist.
So let's go to, speaking of championships, the tag team title match at Heatwave, which coming into the weekend, the general consensus here was that most were not interested in this matchup. After the match, I'm curious to see how or if your opinions changed. Mel, what did you think of this tag team title match?
Honestly, I think NXT as a whole is doing better, and then maybe it just might be a comparison with the other matches that they've seen. I do want to see. I don't like. To be honest, I might have tuned out a little bit, but it's just like that was a me thing, not them. I still think that they both, like on both ends, that they did perform and deliver the match well. I don't really have as much thoughts as like maybe I do on the other matches, but yeah.
Jacob, did you have any thoughts on this tag team title match?
So we just gonna act like Duke Hudson didn't come out and just hit a sunset flip, release German suplex, and sent that boy halfway across the country?
Okay.
I mean, the man.
That's
cooked.
why you're talking about it. It was incredible.
The man cooked. I feel like this was probably a lot better match than everybody thought, because if I'm not mistaken, a few of you people, Mr. Welton, Councilman, said y'all had no interest in this, and my only complaint is you got to take the belts off of Axel and Frazier, and this was the perfect moment. You have all that dissension built up. Just pull the trigger and let's just go ahead and get this moving. Go to the greatest hits bag, Sean, and go find one of those tag team breakups that you got in there, and let's go with it.
It seems only right to have the mayor speak after that. Mayor,
I'm willing to admit when I was wrong, because this was a good match. I'm willing to admit when I was wrong. Somebody clip that
one more time for the people in the back.
Rocks off.
Yeah,
Jacob's been working with me for a long time, and I've been very critical of Mr. Duke Hudson for a long time. But that spot that Jacob mentioned, as well as the Stratisfaction, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. It's showing that NXT works, that he's being able to not only find his character, but also showcase an in-ring work. Because for a long time, he was just, hey, I'm 6'5". That's me. So I'm glad that it's working. It's still defund Chase U on this side, but like with the tag team division, you got to have more viable tag teams. So I think it is time. Even in I believe the pre-show, they were saying that Nathan Frazier wasn't in the building. Axiom was getting ready to defend the titles by himself. They're teasing it for a while, so I'm interested to see exactly how Sean separates these guys, because there's still OTM. There's still a lot of other tag teams in the ranks that are still coming up. So it's time to make sure we start building actual tag teams. These guys have had a good run, but they can be doing a lot better by possibly challenging Obafemi, because right now Obafemi ain't got no challengers.
Not yet.
Honey, we've talked about this before, and we specifically talked about not necessarily caring a lot about the tag team title reign of Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Did this match make you care?
You know what's funny? The during Philly weekend, that's when the transition started being made, and I was just like, okay, I got my eye on you. It made me care about the status of their relationship as a tag team. That's what it made me care about. Where are we going with this? Like they said, or like said before, said Axiom was ready to go out there and defend by his damn self. And you know what? Anybody would when you're waiting on your partner, haven't heard from them, and they're ghosting you. Not for nothing. If I was Axiom, I'd be a little fed up with this stuff. But they still are tag team champions, and we're gonna see what story unfolds with them going forward. It does make me care about the status of their relationship. It also kind of did make me care about Chase U just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. Like, because there was some good spots in this match that were really exciting. And I was like, okay, I don't know. And not for nothing, I don't know how Andre Chase, I don't know how you wrestle in a full sweater and button-down shirt and pants sometimes, dude. But you make it work. You make it work. But I'm just saying, might have to change up the uniforms. It's called Heatwave. It's hot. It's hot. And I know Florida was hot. But I digress there. But I definitely do want to see and can't wait to see where this story unfolds and where this goes between Axiom and Nathan Frazier. They have had these titles for a while. They've beaten some really good tag teams to do it. I feel like they're going to put a new tag team over when they possibly drop the titles eventually. I feel like it could go to Enofe and Malik Blade, possibly, give some new stars, or even OTM, as said as well, because there's still a lot of hungry tag teams being built in NXT. And but they're just so good to watch. That's why it also makes you care. They're really good to watch. Nathan Frazier's athleticism is insane, and Axiom's athletic ability as well, being a luchador. But I can't wait to see where they go going forward.
Councilman, what did you think about this matchup? Was it better than you expected or not?
I'm not feeling
it. Y'all can gaslight this match all you want. Y'all can try to gaslight this all you want. I don't care about them spots that Duke Hudson did. I didn't see that with Dijak, and look what happened with him. So,
wow.
I'm with Seth. Defund Chase U and fund the HBCU, and let's really see them go to work. Go
That's
break
both
up.
Y'all paychecks looking light.
Go break up Axiom and them. They are singles competitors. I like that they high fly. Don't care for them as a tag team, and they should have lost to Galveston and Anderson. It was okay.
Damn! Wow.
Sheesh.
Wow. Well, I will say that the match was amazing. Way better than I thought. And I thought that they made us care, which I thought was important. I almost feel like they walked into it knowing that on this card they had the weakest story. So they had to put in work, especially following those two North American title matches. And I thought that they absolutely delivered. So shout out to Axiom, Nathan Frazier, and Chase U, who gave us an absolutely fantastic match last night. Let's move to the NXT title match. Fatal 4-way. Now, I don't want to say, well, I did want to say, but I think I properly and accurately predicted the result of this one. But it's Trick Williams defending against Javon Evans, Sean Spears, and Ethan Page. Mel, let's start with you. What'd you think of this match?
Again, I thought it was really entertaining, especially considering, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen even a fatal 4-way in a long time. I don't know, that just might be me. I think any of these people were a good pick, but I'm excited that Ethan Page did win. I'm excited to see him just see where the title reign goes and how it's going to make him turn into an even bigger of a superstar that he should be. And this match definitely helped him take that into the next like career move for him.
Jacob, your thoughts on the fatal 4-way for the NXT Championship?
The right man won. Period. Point blank. Plain and simple. It is all ego every day, all day. I mean, here's the thing. If you watched Ethan Page in TNA, whether he was a part of the North or once they separated, you could see the man had star, top guy on your roster written all over him. Even when he first got AEW and he did that whole Men of the Year bit with Scorpio Sky, it was still good. And then it just fell apart. All ego is going to be great. And he has that eating grin that you're just like, I want to punch you in the face. And that is what you need out of a heel world champ. I mean, look how he did it. He was like, me? Who, me? This face? You mad? I'm going to take this. Have fun. Perfect. Love the way they did it. Love the callback from Shawn and everything. Perfect match. I'm just surprised the young OG is still alive and walking right now because they tried to kill that boy.
That boy is bouncy for a reason. Now, I have a feeling I know what Ced's going to say, but I'm very interested in hearing it. Ced, your thoughts on the new champion, Ethan Page?
First things first, you're not right for starting with this match. Y'all want to see me die slow in this program, and it's not fair. This was the main event. Everybody watching at home, this was the main event. We doing it second to last.
Oh, we doing this, Mayor. We doing
right.
this.
I don't recall
Y'all
that.
ain't right. Y'all ain't right. But what I will say is,
twisting the knife.
respect on Shawn Spears' name. Put some respect on the Perfect 10, because that man showed his ass yesterday. He belongs in the main event. He's been a main event player, but now we can finally see that. Did the right man win the match in Ethan Page? Yes, I'm interested to see how we continue the storyline with it kind of being an accidental win. And shout out to Shawn Spears again for kind of tying CM Punk for Hater of the Year here, just by preventing Trick from even trying to break up the pin. Young OG's a breakout star, only 20 years old. The sky's the limit for him. But the thing about this match, and I've been saying it for weeks, is that the title picture is kind of stale because you need to bring people up to Trick's level. This is how you do that and create a main event picture, because Trick will benefit way more in the chase. You don't need the belt to be the talk of the show. Look at Dominic Mysterio.
Right.
And Trick's going to benefit the most for this as we move into October, go into the CW. He's not going to lose any momentum, but him chasing the belt will showcase a lot more of his brand and his character, while Ethan Page, who's a great promo, better at in-ring work as well, can kind of carry that for a while with possibly just doing your prototypical heel work. I liked it. I think this was kind of an emergency button push for Shawn to keep the main event picture afloat.
Honey.
Well, I'm glad we're doing this match first before our main event that we're going to talk about. But I was not happy with this result. I was robbed again. This was supposed to be the whoop that era, okay? The whoop that era. I wanted to see him conquer and take everybody out. I don't care where they came from. I don't care if they jumped ship. I don't care what kind of history they had with fake TK and try to give him the finger and, just to tell him to shove it one time. But damn it, it should have been Trick to keep it, or it should have been Shawn Spears. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Great match overall, though. Great freaking match. It was amazing. There was a lot of crazy spots. Javon Evans, young man, you are going places, sir. You are going places. But this one, I was just not happy. I wasn't happy with it, and the fact that it ended the night that way just pissed me off even more. Because I love Trick Willie Gang. I'm part of Trick Willie Gang, and I know Boss Lady wasn't having it either. I know that much. But yeah, not happening. This was supposed to be the Trick, the whoop that era, and I was robbed. That's how I feel.
Councilman.
Congratulations to Shawn Michaels. You've now made Trick Williams the new Sami Zayn too. So great job.
Wow.
Great job.
Wow.
Your NXT title reign. Very
Wow.
good. NXT title reign.
This is the match that'll make me call him Hickenbottom. Okay, now we're gonna have a talk. Okay, Hickenbottom, and I love Sean.
But I will say though, Cedric has a great point. It is better to see him chase it. I have no doubt Ego will play a great heel champion to get Trick to try to climb to the back up to the top of the mountain again to get it. And I think we're gonna love to see that run. But that is a very thin line that you got Trick Williams on. And so I just want to see how they're gonna play that out and how they make that work. But right now, you're looking a lot like Sammy right now, my boy.
Well, let me go ahead and address, because Boza is having a field day. Why did HBK pick this night to go back to Backlash 2007? You made Shawn Spears and Trick Williams look stupid just to give fake TK the finger. So, let me go. Feels like Ethan is only NXT champion just to give fake TK the finger. You make Trick Williams' reign feel pointless. Okay, so I have not hopped on my soapbox during this entire show. I have not.
Stand on it, Professor.
It's popcorn. That's gonna be good.
I'm about to.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this.
Awesome. I gotta hear.
Get the organs.
I really think that we have to get out of this space where we really think that the WWE is making booking decisions to care about Tony Khan. Okay. First of all, you're dealing with billions versus millions. Okay.
Preach.
You're dealing with billions versus millions. May I remind you that WWE was evaluated at $9.7 billion. While the other Tony Khan's dad might be a billionaire, AEW is nowhere close to being a billion-dollar company. So to think that AEW is on their radar like that is crazy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if we really want to start thinking forward, think about, and I've said this before, think about October the 1st. While everybody's talking about Netflix in January, October the 1st is where NXT heads to the CW. And I said this here last week. What makes more sense? Trick walking into the CW as champion, or Trick chasing the title and getting that title shot on October the 1st or some date thereafter to get that CW audience very interested in Trick Williams and that whole experience. Number 3, to think that Ethan Page only deserves to be NXT champion because he came from AEW is a slap in his face. Ethan Page has been doing this for 20 years. And to think that anybody who came from AEW automatically gets a WWE push is inaccurate, and it's unfair to them as a talent. Jade was a star. We knew that in AEW. Okay, just because she didn't get around the world title match didn't make her any less a star. And just because the WWE is a place that knows how to build a star, you can't punish them for hiring a talent and promoting that talent. That's why they hired the talent. They didn't hire the talent to sit in catering. So with that said, Ethan Page wasn't going to be in 2 consecutive main events and lose. He was not. Here's what you need. Now, if you want a funny callback to AEW, let me give you a funny callback to AEW. Who was AEW's first world champion? A guy named Chris Jericho, who was a veteran. 25, 30 years in the business. You needed a veteran to help lead a ton of young stars. You have an entire veteran in Ethan Page coming to help lead these stars, helping to groom them, make them that much better. And that's what happened. Javon Evans shined like new money. And he's going to be a crazy star. This is easily, it's a thing. So I just want us to silence the argument about because somebody comes from AEW. Let's prop them up. If that were the case, I'm about to debunk all of your theories. If that was the case, then we would have seen Lexis King as a champion by now, right? Remember, he came straight from AEW. Remember that?
That's a good point.
We would have
That's
seen him as a
and he's
champion
second
by
gen.
now.
Very good
Sean
point.
Spears would have been a champion by now. He's not. So I think we have to get this out. It is tribalism, and I don't want to insult anybody because there are multiple people saying this in the internet wrestling community. I don't want to insult anybody, but if we're going to think about long-term storytelling and look for Easter eggs and scan QR codes and try to figure out what all this stuff means, then we have to raise our level of consciousness to stop thinking that WWE is concerned in their booking decisions about what would AEW do. I would almost guarantee you, matter of fact, I will go ahead and guarantee you that nobody's sitting in a booking room saying, well, what will AEW think about this? AEW is having its own problem filling seats in its arenas with its own stories. Why would you, when you have already had 37 sellouts this year, why are you worried about AEW? You're not.
Preach.
So let's be intelligent fans and just realize the WWE product is absolutely doing a great job. And I will tell you this, they're not going to put a brand like NXT on the back of someone like Ethan Page if he can't support it. Because at the end of the day, if you can't support what you're doing, there's a whole bunch of people that want to take your spot, and they could release him or just never sign him. So now that I have that off of my chest,
Trick wasn't ready.
Let's get to why we really came here.
Trick wasn't ready. Take them Sheen Harlem Heat shorts off, Trick.
I don't know.
Don't disrespect my goat.
Who gave me the womp. I have no idea who gave me the womp. I have no idea. But so be it.
I don't have access.
I completely ignored the womp. But here's what we're here to talk about. The women's title match between Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice. Which
can I just say one thing? I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to let them get their rocks off. I don't duck no smoke. That's why I'm here. But I'm going to let y'all have y'all moment. So.
Well, we do want to hear from you, though.
I would love to hear from
Now, before we do this,
please,
this is
Mr.
funny.
Wilson.
This is Mel's first show with us, and I'm sure she's in Canada going, what did I step into? So, Mel, let me get your opinion first about this women's title match. What did you think?
Did she freeze?
Did Mel freeze on us? I don't know.
Mel,
are you there?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Yeah. Okay. It's always Wi-Fi is always cutting in and out, but thankfully it's back. Okay. So what did I miss?
Oh wow! I don't know how much of that you missed, but let's get your thoughts on the women's title match from last night.
I agree with Honey. I think it was the top, or maybe at least tied with maybe the women's Money in the Bank match. Anytime that these two women step into a ring together, I think it's absolute gold. Just like, I think Lola definitely has potential championship, like a championship in her future. I think that like this match was so performed like to the T. Everything was so good about it. Seeing Roxanne do the pop rocks on the table, and then just seeing like the crowd's reaction after that too, it was just crazy. Especially like this definitely should have been the main event. Again, same with like the Money in the Bank, the women should have been the main event. That's okay.
All right, Jacob.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to send our best well wishes and praises to one Mr. Cedric Welton in his time of grief and mourning right now. I was a little late to the show because as my duty, one of my duties of working with the mayor in Vice City is making sure that our burial grounds are up to standards, and I had to make sure that Miss Lola Vice's grave was properly maintained and set up so we could usher her on up to the upper room. As you can see, Mr. Welton showed up in white today, and I appreciate you, sir. I'm so sorry for your loss, but it'll be all right. This match was a banger and put a smile on my face about as big as this one right now. I will give Lola credit. She's grown on me. She showed up. She held her own. But boy, I think Roxanne was a little fed up at the end because that Pop Rocks after the little tumble and stumble there, she put some stank on it and was like, "Hey, dog, you messed this moment up, so we gonna really sell this." And I'm sorry if it makes you feel better. Said we all know Roxanne's just holding it till a certain somebody gets healthy, but the upper room.
When Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh. Honey, would you like to say something on this one, please?
I would love to say something on this one. It was a happy day in the honey pot. I tell you that much. The honey pot, the bees were buzzing, the stingers were shaking, because screw them booty cheeks. It was our time. It was Miss Perez's time. We didn't want to see no twerking and a shaking from Miss Vice City. We knew that Roxanne was going to do what she said she was going to do. Ever since she reclaimed this belt, she's been a woman of her word, and I can do nothing but respect a woman of her word. Shout outs to Lola. She did her thing. She looked phenomenal, but I guess it's because she probably was being a little too petty and wearing pink and black on her arrival that could have probably caused some potential, juju, bad juju in the vibes for Miss Vice. Just saying, but hey, what can I say? Roxanne is on her way to being a one of the most memorable NXT Women's Champions for sure. If she keeps this up, four Pop Rocks, four or five, I think it was on the table, in the ring, outside, five time. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, Roxanne Perez. You already know. Sorry, said. Love you, said.
Councilman?
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here this day to enjoy this thing called life. Now, Tiffany Stratton was the one that told me I need to be paying attention to Roxanne Perez. And then, we finally talked to strategize about the Pereziacs and how we're going to continue this success. And all I have to say is, this is what happens when you petty, when you're a cheater, when you steal title belts. This is what happens. You think you go come in, push the NXT Women's Champion, call her a fake Latino, and think you not fit to get this work?
Okay.
Like she told you, this ain't the octagon, young lady. This is the wrestling ring. You going up against the Prodigy, the youngest champion in ROW, coming from Booker's camp. And you were smelling yourself, as my mom liked to say, as going, I'm a Latina, you should be a wrestler. And then worry about who you had in this ring, rather than shaking your booty meat and trying to win this thing. And I talked to Roxanne before she started, and I said, I need a favor. I had to call in a favor. And I'm like, when you pop Rox home, I need you to do it on the table for Shayna Baszler. I need you to pop Rox the F out of her on that table so hard it don't even break. And by God, she delivered. It's Pop Rox
delivered
all over Vice City right now. It's all over everywhere. It's in pink and blue. It's a sea of blue of Pop Rox everywhere, showing you why Roxanne Perez is one of the greatest. And just to Honey's point, as she said, you gave yourself bad juju with the pink and black. You also gave yourself bad juju by saying you're going to be the first, whatever it was, MMA integrated star when Shayna Baszler already done that. She is one of the most dominant NXT women's champion. She is a women's tag team champion. She got Ronda Rousey's bad attitude ass up out of here. How dare you disrespect Shayna? So if you thought coming back on you, we got your grave dig right next to Cedric, and we gonna put a speaker right there and play Sexy Red while you sit there resting in peace. But I will say this. She did give a phenomenal performance and won that crowd over, which when they switched, as the professor's point, when they switched to CW and she wins that title, when they switch, that pop is going to be ridiculous when she wins that title. But this past Sunday, oh no, them Pop Rocks, 1, not 2. She's not even 3. I thought it was just 3. And then she came with 4 and she said, you know what? Let me put another biscuit in the bag.
Just cause.
Pop
One more
Rocks.
for the road.
One more. Them fists wasn't flying. Them kicks wasn't doing nothing. So I don't know what the mayor's going to have to do. But you need a new strategy, my boy, because maybe that'll work when she goes face Kaylani. I
think we're having a meeting about annexing and joining Parkerville because I think Vice City's in dire straits right now.
Oh, boy. Hey, man, look, you can always come to Strattonville. You can always join the Breziacs.
Or come to the Honey Pot.
The Honey Pot. I know Vice City is smelling like Pepto-Bismol and despair right now.
The minute it counted 3, I swear to God, this was me. I was so happy, so happy.
And I'm done because I know we gotta get Cedric to talk because Raw's about to start in a little bit.
Yeah, so Ced, the floor is yours, sir.
I just want to talk to Michael. We're not calling you by your last name no more. I'm gonna call you your first name. Michael, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is the second time you played us. You have officially destroyed and derailed the Lola Vice character. The breakout contract meant nothing. Underground means nothing.
Twerking with sexy.
I didn't know we were taking on Roxanne Goldberg. I didn't know we were taking on Roxanne Cena. What are we doing? She just had finishers to spam. That's how you want to sell this match? The crowd was on Lola's side. Organic. This was Yes Movement levels of organic. When she cried on Tuesday night. And you robbed us of that, Michael.
Crocodile tears.
Not be denied. Not be denied. She got a standing ovation at the end of the match. But damn it, we will rebuild it. Guys, it's with a heavy heart that I have to hang up my Aqua t-shirt.
What?
What? Time.
You abandoning her like that?
What?
Cool.
It has been a pleasure serving you as mayor, but until Michael corrects these wrongs, I am boycotting NXT.
What?
Not watch the program. Corrects these wrongs.
Wow. Wow. I was simply going to say that I felt like last night they both became mega stars. Like Lola had her best performance, bar none. Roxanne just literally, I mean, it was incredible. She became incredibly dominant. But here's my perspective, said it took 5 Pop Rocks to beat her. That says a lot about who she is. If it took 5 of them to beat her. And let me tell you what it gave me. It gave me vibes of Ember Moon in her chase of the NXT Women's Championship. She didn't get it the first time, but they were building something to where when she finally got it, it was great. It was great. So I think this is not the end of Lola Vice. I am shocked that Ced is turning in his office. This is a shocking moment that we didn't see happen, but maybe we'll give him some time. I'm sure they will welcome him back. But I quickly want to get to, because we are running vastly out of time, the go home image for NXT Heatwave. was shocking. Here it is. They give us the credits. We've got, what we thought this might be the go home image, but then this flashed on our screen. Joe Hendry for like 2 seconds, and then they were out. What do you think this means? Very, very quickly. What does it mean that Joe Hendry popped on our screen at the end of the PLE? Jacob.
Long-term storytelling. All Ego was the first one to get him up out of there, if I'm not mistaken, in the battle royal. And also, we all knew Joe Hendry wasn't going out like that. So Ethan Page might want to be look out, because Trick might not be the only one gunning for him. Because I believe.
Mel, what do you think?
It reminds me of when they first introduced the new Wyatt faction of like the Accidental. And then, yes, it's going to be long-term storytelling. But how are we going to see this incorporate? I'm curious to find out how.
This is going to be interesting. Sed, have you gathered yourself enough to speak on Joe Hendry? Oh, no.
I have a comment.
Okay.
This immediately told me this is probably why they took the title off Trick, because that Joe Hendry momentum is so massive that if you were going to do crossover, you don't want to do it with somebody that you want to carry your brand. So if Joe Hendry is somebody that can challenge for an NXT title and he's so massive worldwide, you don't want to diminish the person that you want to be your guy. So that's what I took from that.
Okay. Councilman?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. And I cannot wait to see what they do with him, what comes of it. I like that type of storytelling. Leave us wanting more, leave us guessing. And to that point, I think that made Trick's loss to Ethan a little bit easier to take in. Because you can kind of see and again, taking nothing away from Ego at all. But it definitely shows me, okay, I know what y'all setting me up for. I know what we're getting ready for. Those two are going to put on a great match, even if Hendry does, if he wins or if he doesn't win. I know we're going to get some good storytelling out of this as we allow Trick to build back up. So I'm excited.
Honey?
2 words. I only have 2 words for this man. Next up. This is the guy right here. I don't know. Something about it when I first got a little, when I got first familiar with Joe Hendry and when he appeared, even though I didn't say his name, but everybody else did, I was very impressed, very, very impressed. And with the way they present him, I love the song. And I love where it's going. There's a lot of history, obviously, there between the two going forward. And it also makes the case for, All Ego to have a great run and some really challenging contenders, especially one vengeful Trick Williams.
Absolutely. So very quickly, of course, Monday Night Raw is tonight. And ooh-wee, for the first time ever, Liv and Dom are teaming up, and they're taking on Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. That's going to be crazy. 6-woman tag action tonight. Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and Lyra Valkyria against Damage Control. More 6-man, more trios action. The tag champions and Carlito, and I guess Carlito's officially part of Judgment Day. I'm not sure. Taking on Awesome Truth and Braun Strowman. We've got Chad Gable and Jey Uso. We've got a lot of fallout with Drew McIntyre. Apparently, he is suspended indefinitely, as mentioned on the socials. Where will CM Punk fall? Where does Damian Priest come in all of this? There's a lot to pay attention to tonight on Monday Night Raw. And so that goes down tonight. Honey, yes.
I was going to say with this match right here, Wyatt Six got to be appearing from somewhere. I need Wyatt Six somewhere between these two. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Between the Fireflies and all that's going on with Gable, it'll be very interesting to watch tonight. All right, let's find out how we can connect with everybody here on the panel. You guys have rocked with us today, and we appreciate it. Jacob, how can the people find you?
Of course, you can find me over at Twitter at _JDella. That's JDELA. Me and my Dell Illusion, as some of y'all like to call it, will be over there spewing takes about wrestling, basketball, shoes, and occasionally making said hate himself more than he normally does for partnering with me. So, find me on Twitter.
Councilman?
Don't need you to follow nothing. Just need your support. We will be having a funeral service for Lola Vice's career, as well as Rock Federal, etc. Tenure as mayor. Yeah, we just want to make sure, if you can, we have a Kickstarter for it. Make sure you support. We're gonna have Oreos, some lumpia. We're gonna have habanero peppers there. Taco Bell sponsor as well. I heard that the Chihuahua dog is gonna be there as well. We're gonna have Church's chicken as well there, and it's also sponsored by Pop Rocks. We've been working on that deal, and we finally gonna have it there. So just make sure that y'all maybe will have. We'll have live feeds that Saturday to be on Twitch, YouTube, and X, and hopefully the real TK will let us stream it on here, just because we want to say our goodbyes to Lola, and send the mayor off to wherever it is he will be mayoring outside of Vice City.
Wow. Mel, it's your maiden voyage with us. How can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on Twitter, MelissaAK01.
Awesome sauce. It's good to have you with us. Honey, how can we find you?
Shout outs to Mel. She's one of us. She uses Twitter still, not X. But
yes.
You can find me here. No, girl, please. We use the word Twitter around here. But you can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with the lovely crew here at WWT Live. Don't forget to check out the NXT post show on Wednesday. I might not be around again for this one this Wednesday. Your girl's out here hustling, making sure the honey pot is still standing strong. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, I will be around on Friday. Every Friday, I'm always here. Every Friday, we have our Honey Night Smackdown watch along, and you can join in on the fun for 2 hours and talk all that good wrestling-ish. TikTok Wrestling with Honey, Facebook Wrestling W Honey, Instagram Wrestling with Honey. I don't know why I did that. And the YouTube Wrestling with Honey podcast.
Said.
I don't want to be found or connected with on this day. You guys can follow my counterparts, man. Justice for Lola Vice, man. Vice City will rise again. Michael Sean Hickenbottom, I have officially taken your GOAT card away from you.
Wow.
It's gone.
You can never do that. You can never do that.
Not my GOAT. Not my GOAT anymore. Not my GOAT. Nope.
Not my GOAT.
Nope.
If I may interject one more with one little drop, it's giving this for said today.
He was special.
To put that in there because the piano notes, Sorry for your loss, Cedric. We love you, bro, but we told you. We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you. Come to this side.
See a blue to a sea of tears, man. We tried to warn you.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor being your mayor.
Yeah, no, I already took get out my office.
I'm gonna need a sabbatical, guys. I'm gonna need a sabbatical.
Hey man, come to Strattonville, bro. We can always use a mind like yours on the table, man.
Wow.
Especially such a well versed elected official as yourself.
Wow.
Top class.
Well, you guys.
Pop Rock's the worst finisher in the association, by the way. I had to get that off.
Lost to it.
I'm sorry.
She lost to it.
I had to get that off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can find me at Bounderfied on all the socials. Follow us at WWTalkPod across all the spaces. Shout out to everybody in the chat, all of our new followers, everybody. You guys are absolutely awesome. We're gonna hop off so you can join Monday Night Raw, and you never know what's gonna happen, but we'll be here to talk about it again on Wednesday as part of WWT Live. This is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Peace.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network